So welcome. I'm so excited to have here today two of my favorite people within the Chamber of Commerce, Director of Member Engagement, Alicia Little, and Craig Cibak of the law offices of Craig M. Cibak. And we're also going to talk today about one of my favorite programs within the Chamber, something called Lead Share, which most of you probably aren't even familiar with. So Alicia, why don't you kick it off and share with us what is the Reston Chamber Lead Share program?
Thanks, Angela. So I am the facilitator for 4 groups that meet on a regular basis called Lead Share. The purpose of Lead Share is for our members to get together, get to know each other, build relationships, and then help share leads with each other. We have 4 groups that meet twice a month, 11:30 on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and then 12 o'clock on Thursdays. The groups are industry exclusive, meaning only one industry per group. And the reason for that is so that when you're sharing leads with each other, you only have one industry to send those leads to. What I love about our lead share groups is they've really become support systems for businesses. It's not just about sharing leads, it's about being there to help each other out on all different levels.
And that's perfect. I love what you say about that. Having been an active member of Lead Share for over 10 or 11 years now, it really is something that has benefited my business. So I'm really, it's interesting because I was really excited to see everybody. It's only a couple of times a month, as you indicated. But so, Craig, how has COVID impacted the program?
Yeah, so initially it was hard on everybody. We were trying to figure out new ways to communicate with each other, and once everybody figured out what Zoom was and could talk to each other again, and we made those adjustments, it really went fine. Our group especially has grown in membership over that time. We have continued to pass referrals back and forth. We see each other socially, either virtually or sometimes a drink in person. So I think we're going really strong despite the pandemic.
I think, like businesses, the program had to pivot, and I think honestly we did a really, really good job. So, you like myself, I'm a 2-person business. You're a 1-person law firm, right? What I feel like I've met all types of businesses within Lead Share, but what do you think of the businesses that probably benefit most from a program like this?
Yeah, certainly ones like ours. Like you said, I'm a 1-person shop, so I don't have an advertising budget. I don't really do a lot of marketing on my own. So I rely on Lead Share and the people in the Lead Share to help me meet other people, to generate contacts, to network. And that generates referrals, and that means revenue for my business. So any kind of business like that really relies on referrals, perfect for Lead Share.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And it's like you said it well when you talk about being a part of the community and having a drink with folks and being friendly. So what do you think, what's the main thing that you've gotten out of Lead Share?
Well, certainly the referrals. We're here to build our businesses. So getting those referrals has been really great. I've gotten a lot of business out of that, but I've learned so much from everybody in my Lead Share. I can rely on them. I can learn from them, not just things about their own businesses and their own industries, which helps then me service my clients better.
Absolutely.
But I can ask them general business questions.
I feel like the people in the group are really well connected in the community as well as the chamber. So I think it's
well connected. That's exactly right. The people have other networking things, and they have their own network of friends and clients and business contacts, and I can tap into that through Lead Share.
Yeah, and Lead Share members give each other benefits, whether it be free consultations. I know it's that whole know, like, and trust. I really, really think it's a huge benefit for people like yourself, who was kind of growing in the beginning. You've been in business how long now?
So the end of my 4th year was this fall.
End of 4th year. And we know, and Alicia could attest to this, right? How many people join when they've just started their business. I've seen both just starting out and help me with my elevator pitch to people that are like, oh, I got to start networking again because, business is kind of fallen.
Yeah, no, that's true. And especially with new businesses, it helped my confidence level greatly because I never had to go generate business like that before. Just learning and watching other people do it. You, Angela, helped a lot with that, especially. My confidence has grown tremendously.
Yeah. So how would you think, Craig, probably because you're more involved. I know there's some other groups you might be a part in. We're all trying to grow our businesses. But how would you say LeadShare differs from other networking groups that are out there?
Well, certainly the rest of LeadShare, I call it sits right in a sweet spot. So there are groups out there that have less formal formats, and those are fine. You can meet people, you can develop connections, but there's no real structure to it. With our LeadShare, there is a structure. You have to go and meet people. You really are forced in a way to connect with people, and that's all good for you as well as the other people in the group. There are other groups out there still who are very intense with their demands. They demand a lot of time, a lot of energy, a really strict structure. The rest of LeadShare is not quite like that, not nearly as intense. So it just sits right in that sweet spot of a good structure, but not overwhelming.
Yeah, I think it's a good balance of people's time and that they can invest. And it's actually just from a personality perspective, even. I feel like some people, their businesses are really like, I want to meet, and that's all I want to do. I want to meet, network, share leads, have a nice day. Whereas part of the chamber, I feel like that's good part of our growth business, but you're now involved more in the community, and I think the chamber does a great job of that. I
really think of the LeadShare as my chamber family.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I like these people. Yeah.
I totally agree, and I can. Oh gosh, just so many attestments to how close we feel with everybody in the group. And I can tell you that when we get visitors, so everyone should come visit. First of all, if you're looking to grow your business or just get out in the community, I highly recommend visiting one of the LeadShares. I might have a preference to one of them on Wednesday. I shouldn't say
I can't say anything about that.
Wednesday is great. The Wednesday is great.
Well, it's great because we have a liaison for social events. We have a liaison for our guests. We have Craig as the chair. You have a co-chair with Mickey. So it's a really good foundation for, for a business and productivity. So
and we all really like each other too. It's a really good
most of us. No, I'm just kidding. I do. We like everybody. We especially like you. So Alicia, as we wrap up here, what's the process for someone becoming a member of the chamber as well as for LeadShare?
So the LeadShare is a free member benefit. So you have to be a member to join. As a non-member, you're welcome to visit our LeadShare. So I am the staff liaison for all 4 groups. So the easiest thing is to reach out to me. We do have a page on our website, the Reston Chamber website, about all 4 groups. So you can see who the co-chairs are, and then you can find my contact information.
Great.
If you decide you want to join, you would come visit a group. You would submit an application, and then the application goes to the membership team for review. And then once we decide you're a good fit for the group, you become a member of the group. So the application and information about LeadShare is listed on our website. It's rustonchamber.org, and that information can be found on this video.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions, you can reach out and call me. I am Alicia Little, not Alicia Field. We do have 2 Alicias in our office, but we're good at sharing messages back and forth if you get the wrong one.
Perfect. Yeah. And, the reason why this is just so timely, I feel like, is everyone's going to look to grow their business in 2021, right? We're all going to grow. And this whole COVID thing is going to eventually get behind us. But I think LeadShare is a great opportunity for all of us. So I really appreciate both of your guys' time from a chamber member perspective. Mr. Craig, thank you.
Thank you.
And Alicia, or actually Alicia, there we go. Please welcome the new owner of BEI, Miss Katherine Deming. Welcome, Katherine.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, first I have to congratulate you and your husband, John, for becoming the brand new owners of BEI. I mean, BEI is an institution in Reston, so congratulations.
Thank you. We are beyond excited and so happy that, Mike and Ellen have passed the torch to us, and we can just continue doing all the great things that BEI is doing for clients and for the greater Reston community.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, why don't you share a little bit about how BEI got started and, kind of grew to where it is today?
Absolutely. So BEI, which stands for Business Engineering, was started in 1987. And Mike, the old owner, used to say, oh, business engineering maybe made a little more sense as a name in 1987. And now it's like, what is that?
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
There's no IT in the name or anything like that. But BEI started in 1987, providing very different type of IT services than we provide now, just because the IT industry has evolved so much. But what we do is provide outsourced service desk, help desk services to small businesses. We provide basically an IT department, a fractional IT department for small businesses. Most companies under 100, 150 employees, it really doesn't make sense for them to have an IT department of any size, even just one person. So they would hire BEI. We have 25 staff members. So we have project managers, account managers. We have people who are experts in email, people who are experts in Teams and collaboration, and people that are just really good at hardware and troubleshooting and things like that. So they get sort of the full bench. They don't have employees that leave. They don't have employees that take vacation. Right. They just get that fractional IT department.
Yeah, and I would imagine that the needs of small, medium, and large-sized businesses and even nonprofits are all different, and even to the point where, people define these as different. So you said up to 100 people, right? And back in my corporate days, I would say that was like super large, but that's probably like, how do the needs differ from the varying size companies?
Yeah, that's a great question. So when you have a company that maybe has 5 to 10 people, you have a lot of VIPs, right? Typically that can be a little bit of a, I would say, top heavy company, not in a bad way, but maybe they're providing some sort of service or coaching or consultative type service, like your company, right? You have 2 people, you guys are both VIPs and the executives, but you also do everything else. So they have different needs, but then also you could have a 10-person doctor's office and that structure looks very different. But as far as 100 employees or 10 employees, we have adopted solutions that can work for all of those people, right? And it's important for us to have scalable solutions because it makes us more efficient, which in turn that gets passed on to those clients. So we try to make sure that we can offer all of our clients, no matter their size, the same type of service, the same type of solutions. Virginia includes or counts small businesses as basically anything under 500. But the vast majority of small businesses in the state of Virginia are under 20 computer users and employees.
That's what we see. Yeah, I mean, we see that in the chamber all day long, and I'm sure that, you best serve them by providing that outsourced service at different levels. And I think you use the proper word by saying scalable. So people can kind of start really small, and then as they grow, you grow with them. Yep. One thing I'd have to say about the chamber, just BEI and you guys being so active, because I just got to meet you and I met Mike and Ellen, but I got to meet more of the team because I see them at the local Oktoberfest or a Taste of Reston. So share more about what you guys do to give back and your volunteer initiatives. I think it's so great. Yeah, absolutely. So half of our ownership right now, Jake and Suki, they live in the Reston area. They have a child in schools in Reston. And then Mike and Ellen, the previous owners, also live in Reston, and our office is in Reston. So what the chamber provides is a wonderful place that we can plug into and give back to the community in various ways, right? We can give back to the business community, of course, but then through the events like Taste of Reston and Flavors of Fall, there's always opportunities. So we use the beer tent, as you mentioned, and sometimes the wine tent or whatever they're serving. We will come up with a team, and it'll be a mix of employees, or it could be friends, local friends. And we always design a t-shirt to make it fun. And then everybody goes out, they do their shift, work their shift. We
I would say there's usually like 8 to 10 people on one of those shifts. So we try to make it something that we fill with friends and employees. We do the t-shirt and we serve that way. But then the chamber provides other ways to give back to the community. So right now we're helping the chamber, BEI is helping the chamber organize the first responder lunch.
Yep.
Typically we have a luncheon at the end of the year. It's at one day at noon, and whoever is sort of on the shift working at that moment is welcome from the fire department, from the police, and from the 911 dispatch center. But we were sort of presented with an opportunity this year. We turned it into an opportunity. Previously, we had this luncheon and it served, 100 people. We had food donated from the restaurants. This year, we are trying to feed everyone in the Reston district, all first responders and the dispatchers that support them in Fairfax.
So my understanding is you can sponsor a meal, right, or donate to deliver. Is that what the story is?
Yes. Yeah. So we wanted to be able to give people opportunities if they don't have the funds, maybe they have the time right now, or maybe they have both. And we also didn't want to strain the restaurant community. They've been so good to first responders always. Absolutely. And they've always donated to this luncheon every single year. I mean, we get 10 restaurants that just give the most amazing food. Yeah. But this year, restaurants are struggling. And so what we said is, what's awesome is we get to feed all the first responders and we get to give money to the restaurants, right? So we didn't ask for any discounts. And so we're collecting funds from the business community and from individuals who can give, and we're using those funds to pay the restaurants for the meals to deliver them. They're all individually packaged. And
and we'll have that. The information, I learned about it recently, and the information's on the chamber website. So we'll put that up. So if anyone is interested, I'd love to do that. Now we don't, I always say the time kind of flies by. So we only have like a little bit of time left. If you could kind of share, since you're like the tech expert, you've always been on my business education classes and workshops. What's the biggest, tech advice you can give during this lovely holiday season?
Yeah. So great question. People are doing a lot of online shopping. You have COVID, plus you have the holidays. And so my advice sort of at a strategic and overarching level is to stay vigilant. If Amazon is calling you all of a sudden and never called you before, that doesn't smell right? Does it pass the smell test? If the police are calling you and saying, hey, we need donations to catch bad guys, you're like, what? This isn't, the fire association calling for their annual fundraiser that you're used to, or the police benevolent society. This seems so, I thought I paid taxes for this type of thing. So if something just doesn't seem right, these are the scams that we're seeing right now. We're seeing so many robocall type scams. Yes. And we see it with ransomware too. So people scammers will send something out. They know that the company is infected with ransomware, and then they follow up with a phone call because they don't want them to recover the data or to just say, oh, we actually have a disaster recovery plan in place. We're fine. So the scammer's like reaching out to them, try to get them on the phone, get that money.
I'm going to sum it up by saying if your gut doesn't tell you it's right, then it's probably not. So that's great advice. And what we'll do is we'll share the best way that people can get in touch with you, probably your website or your email address.
Absolutely. BEInetworks.com. Always the best way to get in touch with us.
Yay. Check out what they're doing. Catherine, great to see you. Eventually we'll see each other in person. I'm looking forward to that day. But for now, this is, a benefit for, the community, and it's just great to see you smiling. Congratulations again.
Thanks.
And hope to see you soon. My next guest is Miss Nona Phinn, President and Chief Messaging Officer from Thus Marketing and Branding. I love it. Welcome, Miss Nona.
Thank you, Angela. Thanks for having me.
I mean, you don't often hear a messaging officer, so I'm excited to learn more about that and what you do. So let's share with the audience a little bit more about Thus Marketing, a very unique name, kind of how you started and what it means.
Absolutely. Honestly, all transparency, I started by accident. I was working
like many entrepreneurs.
Right? You just kind of trip up into it. But some accidents are really, really great because they land you right where you're supposed to be. And so that's really how I got started with Thus Marketing, just kind of working with the client on the side. And it grew from there. I realized that this is something that I wanted to dedicate my full-time energy to. And it just really grew from there. And when I thought through what this really should be called, because really I just thought, I'll have this client, maybe another one, and then that's how it'll be. But things just started to grow, and I recognized that I was a business. And so I had to put a name on this thing. And I thought, well, what really would speak to how I market, how I look at marketing? And thus is what came to mind, which stands for the human side of marketing. Because many times what I do and did at that time was work with clients, even when I was internal with my teams on how do we humanize what we're doing? Because that's the best way to connect to our audience. I'm an audience first marketer. And I recognize if you become audience first, the dollars will follow. And so part of doing that is to understand how to humanize brands and any push promotions that we do. And that's what the human side of marketing is all about.
And, people see right through that. So being a human and actually having a conversation, something that's real. I mean, we were just having a conversation about that recently, and it's so important. So great that you emphasize that today. That's great.
Yes. It's what makes sales and marketing different.
Yeah, and fun. Yes. I know you're great at what you do, and you help, so many people, and you can help so many different types of businesses, but who would you say is ideal for you? And, who do you serve best and why?
Yeah. Well, ideally, associations and nonprofits is who I work with. And that's just really because my personal career background has really been seated in the nonprofit association space. And again, with that humanizing of marketing, it really fits that industry well because they're mainly mission focused, membership driven, community focused. So they're really looking for more than a customer. They're looking for sort of long-term commitment. But I mean, honestly, Angela, any client or any business who is looking for a long-term commitment with their customer, that is really ideal for Thus Marketing. As then I think that business really understands that there's a relationship element that marketing can help build, a bridge between the business and the audience. And so once a business is looking to cultivate that, that's where I can come in and really be a partner with them, because it's definitely more than just let me get a customer here and then a customer there and move on and acquisition, but retention and relationship comes into play, and associations get that. They have to. They can't survive without that understanding.
You use the right word, long lasting, right?
They have to, long lasting. Apple gets that.
No, and it sounds like that is right up your alley, probably from your background in general. And, we talked earlier a little bit beforehand about your family, and it's just so important. And if that's, you kind of grew up with that and driven in that, and, relationships are so important, and they're time consuming, but they
are, but they're good investments. Talk about ROI.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So that's good. So you can help. So what are you helping them mostly with?
Right now, at this current time, we're probably all sick of this word, but that pivot word.
Yeah, it is. Let's just put it on the table. It is.
Yeah, let's just throw it. It's pivot. Like, what's the word of the year? And so many of my clients, it's like, okay, we started doing A, and now we have to figure out how to take the same goal and objectives that we're trying to obtain from A and move it into some kind of B, C, D through Z. And so, so a lot of my clients were doing events, and so now it's virtual. And so what does that look like? How do we reach? And actually we found just our reach is extended because there's no borders. There's no travel. I mean, we've amazing results from this pivot thing. And really, I think they're little blessings in disguise when you're challenged to do things differently, because that's secret, associations like to do things the same. And so when they're forced to do things differently, I actually found it as sort of a golden ticket. Like, yes, like we get to take a little risk. We get to push the envelope. Yay. We have no choice, because we have to look at this differently.
And I hope everybody's listening to this. Are you listening to her? Because this is it's so true. And, everyone's like, oh, down, or oh my God, COVID, oh my God, And when's the vaccine? And instead, it's exactly embrace, the opportunity. And we ourselves have also seen some businesses thriving in that pivot world. So I'm so glad that you were able to exclaim that. I mean, and this is crazy to me. It's like people just shut down, right? So tell me more about why is marketing so important, especially during this time?
Oh my goodness, this is not the time to shut down. Like, we have to physically shut down, but we should not shut down, particularly on marketing. I find it's very easy in times like this to say marketing is sort of a luxury item and we can't afford to do it. But marketing is also very important right now because we are sort of having to do things differently, and you can't always do things the way you want to or used to. There is that sort of risk in having your audience forget you're even out there, because you may not be showing up physically where they are, present where they are, the way that you used to, and you could become a forgotten entity, a forgotten piece of their world when things do return to some kind of normalcy. Your competitors are still pushing the envelope, they're pivoting, they're going to stay top of mind to your audience, to your customer, and you can't afford to sit in the background. I mean, you can, but you think of football, as soon as, if you want to sit on the sideline and then call the season out, which is why many of them didn't, because they recognize there's a rookie right behind you who's waiting to take the spot. Right. So when you sit on the bench, that's really great. You warm that seat up while I go on the field and do my thing, and now they'll remember me, and they're going to ask me what your name was again.
There you go. I love it.
Don't want to be that.
That's a great perspective. It truly, truly is, because if you do slow down, someone else is going to take your place.
Yeah.
And so,
there's always someone faster. Ask Serena. There's always someone who's going to come behind you if you don't keep up with your game.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as we wrap up, and the time always flies when we talk about these things, but you're clearly, you smile the whole time. It's great. It's great talking with you. You clearly love what you do, but why do you love what you do? Why is it so?
Oh my goodness. I was always that kid who was jealous of my peers who could be creative, just take their hands and make anything happen out of the blue. And I could never do that. And marketing is one of those great fields where you can take both the right side of your brain and the left side of your brain. You could be creative and put science with it and make stuff happen. And the impact, to me, is what keeps me going. The impact is what I live for, to see us do X, and now we birth Y and Z. I mean, I have one daughter, but I have tons of babies floating out there, and they're all called impact. They're marketing outcomes and impact, and that I like to even go back and watch grow up from time to time. Did they graduate this year? You get to make change happen, and I'm about that. What is broken? Let's fix it. And that's when my joy to really help organizations go from having to find an area in which they might be challenged with, struggling with, and we just find light in the midst of that. Hence a moment like this to still win, even though there's so much opposition against us, and be out on the winning field it's incredible. It's fulfilling.
Part of working with, clients, as and being consulting, is to be able to give that inspiration, that positive outlook. And man, clearly you love what you do. And I just am so glad to have this opportunity to share with the community, Miss Nona Phinn.
Yes, thank you for allowing me to. This is great.
I know. Like I said, it goes by really quickly, but what's the best way for folks to get in touch with you? Like your website, and then we'll have it scroll up on the screen.
Thusmarket.com is my website. That's thusmarket.com. And it's Nona@thusmarket.com. Those are the best ways to get with us. Sign up for our emails and subscription. We send out newsletters. We got a weekly blog, tips. We really want to help our clients grow, potential clients grow, and really look at marketing differently. It's more than just a revenue tactic. It's a relationship builder. And so that's what we're here to build. It's help businesses recognize the power that marketing holds in long-term relationships.
Man, I'm putting this on my website because this is beautiful stuff. It's inspirational. It's great. Nona, again, just thanks for being here with me and sharing your story with our audience. And I look forward to seeing you again around the chamber soon.
Yes.